Hi guys! So I'm making a video today for you all. My question of the day. So I got a question yesterday. Heavy hitter. Heavy hitter. Okay. So my question was, what is the meaning of life and how do we deal with what feels like a constant chase for pleasure? Which is totally a really good question because I think this is something that many of us, if not all of us, have grappled with on a daily basis, especially if we, you know, don't already have our foot in like a really big passion for us, or we were raised with a passion, or really developed a skill. We kind of know the meaning of life for me is this. So, what is the meaning of life? So for me, the meaning of life, after doing much exploration of the world, and when I say exploration, I've only been to like 4 states, 5 states maybe, but I've never been out of the country. But by exploration, I mean that I've gone through quite a bit, like a lot of ups and downs in my life, and I've really, just experienced some stuff that really rocked my world and made me think, what's going on, what is the purpose that I'm here. Things feel like they're falling apart, things feel kind of empty and endless, and I feel like I grew up in kind of an environment with those who also felt the same way. So an addictive environment, and if you know someone who's been addicted to, which I know is many of us, but like somebody who's been heavily addicted, or you've been heavily addicted, that's always to fill that hole, or that emptiness within our hearts. We're trying to fill it with alternate substances, and I think many of us can go through cycles as well. So if we haven't been doing it all the time, we'll go through cycles where we are addicted to something, whether it's food, and obviously there are maybe healthier addictions than others, for our body. But when it comes to addiction, I think that in a core way has to do with us knowing what our purpose is, and us being able to handle ourselves, and really just in a really complex manner. So just being able to handle our emotions, being able to handle our true thoughts and fears underneath, being able to handle the programming that we were programmed with as a child. So that can be thoughts like, I suck at this, I am so shitty at sewing, so I'm just not gonna like continue doing it, or I'm not doing enough, I'm not good enough, I'm lazy, I'm being lazy right now. Like maybe you're giving your body a break, you're feeling tired, you just want to lie down, and you're thinking, I'm lazy, so fucking lazy. And so with that, those thoughts are extremely stressful to our bodies. And to have to deal with those thoughts and to not be able to cope with them, not be able to get them to go away, so many times it's subconscious. These thoughts are just sitting there, and we're so used to them. We're used to them in our daily lives. Because I can tell you that I've been doing studying and self-help for years. And I'm talking every day kind of thing. And it's more just because I love it. And I think there's other ulterior motivations, obviously, besides just loving it. A lot of self-hate. I grew up with a lot of self-hate. And so it's really just like, I was sidetracked for a second. Let's come back to center. That, yeah, these words cause a lot of stress on our bodies. And like I said, it's subconscious. A lot of the time we don't even realize it. And there were some recently that I just found that I was like, I did not realize how heavy they were. And a lot of the time it's like we really have to go through these patterns where we make these connections. So we'll hit like one realization. And from that realization, we start to learn more about that realization. We start to learn more about that topic. And then from there, we come across another realization, start to learn more about that. And then the ball starts rolling. And we continue to evolve, and we continue to learn more about our mindsets and setting ourselves free. And the more you do this, and the more you do this, and the more you do this, the freer you're going to get. And the more painful it can get too, though, because you start to really hit that root of what you've been hiding from. can get super comfortable. But just know that you are working through something that will help you in the long run. So, overall, this will let go of that feeling that maybe you're not good enough or you can't achieve what you want to achieve, because I know that that's just a bad feeling that lingers. When you feel like you can't do something, or you don't know how to do it, or you don't know how to get out of your comfort zone, it can be so frustrating. So frustrating to be like, I know I want this thing, but I don't know how to get it. I know I want this thing, I know how to get it, but I'm scared. And when you're thinking, there's this thing I want, but I don't know how to get it, and I'm scared, that means that there's a piece missing. You need the piece. You need the missing piece in between. And maybe you've figured out some logical explanations of, things like, well, just put yourself out there. Just put yourself out there. That's all you have to do. But then again, there's another piece missing, because if you're not doing it, you need to find out what that missing piece is. Keep looking. Keep looking. I promise you'll find it. Just a matter of time. You will find it if you look. So it's totally normal. I actually experienced that. For me, my biggest thing I'm working towards is friendship. Oh my God. And relationships and competition. I've always been someone who is extremely ambitious, and someone who's raised in a very competitive environment. I just feel like my whole life, the people surrounding me, everything, family, like, we're very competitive. And I think it has a lot to do with even just like self-esteem of wanting to be good enough, or maybe not feeling good enough, or maybe even like, who knows where it could have stemmed from. Maybe like someone in my family grew up in a lot of poverty, and they got made fun of a lot for it, and so due to that they had to compensate, and from that they taught their kids, and then they taught their kids, and then they taught their kids, and they taught their kids, and they continue to overcompensate, saying, I need to be the best of the best if I want to be loved. And so that's really how these generational traumas start. And it's interesting to think about going all the way back, but trauma is generational. It is always passed down, because mindsets are passed down. When raising a child, we can't raise them other than the way we know how to raise ourselves. You know what I mean? So, like, if the only way that you know how to raise a child is the way you were raised, that means you're passing down beliefs. And so that's what really gets us to where we are, and everyone does it. Everyone has it. It doesn't matter if you're the richest, if you're the poorest, if you got very enlightened parents. It doesn't matter if your parents were hippies or if they're businessmen. You're going to have that generational trauma, and it's just that the more we work through it, the more we can pass on our consciousness and mindset to our children, so then they can start from where we are at. And then a lot of the time, they're going to help us evolve. We're going to help them evolve. And so, in that, I feel like that really ties into the meaning of life, because we really kind of have to know what our purpose is at large, to really be able to, function with that. And sometimes when you look on a larger scale, it can get uncomfortable, especially with like anything that makes you really think. So, as an example, like thinking about the universe at large, like we're going to look like talking about duality. The concept of duality can be very, very uncomfortable, because you got a bad guy and you've got a good guy, and the bad guy and the good guy are always there. The dark and the light are always there. Now, I think that we can start to raise past duality. And I think we can start to kind of connect the duality and try to integrate, and that integration is love. So by integrating the dark and the light, we integrate love. And I understand there's a lot of things that come with that. So somebody who's very logical, may start thinking about, well, if we lose, if there's only love and there's no more competition, there's no more black and white, how is someone going to be more special than the other person? How am I supposed to be important if everybody is equal? How are we supposed to have individuality if everybody is equal? And so these are things to really ponder. Just because you don't know the answer now doesn't mean you won't know the answer later. So it's important to ask these questions. It's important to get deep in these uncomfortable questions. But just know that that's a part of really digging deep into your meaning of life, and overall what you believe the meaning of life is, not what everyone else tells you, but what really resonates with you at that moment. And just keep following that, and as you do that, you'll start to grow and find those answers. It took me a long time to deal with. I had several breakdown experiences where I was like, I can't do this. I want to save the world, and I can't find the answer right now. Like, I can't find the answer right now how we're going to save the world. Like, it just doesn't seem logical. It doesn't seem possible. And that's because I wasn't looking outside the scope of what I already knew. So I was thinking everything I know is everything I know, meaning there is no answer, as if I knew everything. And it's just remembering that, taking a deep breath and saying, I may not know right now, but I trust that I will find the answer. I trust that it will come to me. And trusting in the universe, in God, in whoever you believe in, is maybe it's in yourself, in your guides, is a big step, because for a lot of us it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust that good things are going to happen from authority. So God figure, authority. So it's really kind of letting go of that, and really looking at your relationship with authority, and looking at your relationship with God, with anyone you find to be above you. And, looking at why you feel that way. What was the trauma first associated with that? So I think that's really important to look at, when we're trying to figure out what the meaning of life is for us, and when we're trying to learn how to trust that things will be okay. So yeah, for many of us that may be our crux. That's going to be the difficult thing, is trusting. Or for many of us, it may be that, something else, like allowing ourselves to learn. Maybe our trauma lies in that. So we're going to have a crux. Mine is connection with others. Mine is connection with other humans and self-love. I have a really hard time with that. I have a hard time loving myself and who I am, and letting my voice be heard. Like, as an example, for me, making this video was very difficult. I actually came across, I would say that for me, the universe brought me in path with a spiritual empathic coach who has been, I've been, taking classes, but sessions with, and she's encouraged me. We've been talking, we'll have our session, and this week she encouraged me to put out a video. For me, it was something I've been wanting to do, but something I've been scared to do, because I feel like my voice isn't valuable. Like, my voice isn't good enough yet. Like, I can't do it. Like, I'm gonna be made fun of. Like, I'm gonna get rejected, and that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard place to be in. But also just giving yourself patience and giving yourself love, and knowing that during this time that things will get better. So I think that it's a normal thing to feel. And even me right now making a video, I have experienced this issue, and I went through this very thing, and I still go through it a lot every day. I'm going to have that crux that I'm really, really just having to work through. And that's part of the journey. And just really allowing yourself to enjoy the journey, really being there with yourself, being present in that moment of whatever you're experiencing. And I know that can be difficult to do, but it's just taking it step by step. So for a lot of those of us who are just chasing after success, or we need to be better, or we feel like we need to be better, we feel like we need to be the best, I think for us, we're gonna need to have to really learn presence, because success always has us chasing after something, always being something, and really kind of finding that balance of just being without chasing that success for a moment, without chasing needing to be better so that I can be loved, if that's what's really behind the scenes. And so for me, the meaning of life, really has to do with that. So there's, a lot. Your meaning of life could be different than someone else's meaning of life. And underneath that, if you're wondering why we're a bunch of humans on this ball of dirt, as for the deeper meaning behind that, for me, I feel as if we are obviously here for a reason. Whether that is to make connections with others and to experience the beauty of a human life. So that's what many say. And I think that really is underneath. And I know that can sometimes conflict with those of us who want success and who want to make a difference, because you might say, what's the purpose? If either way, it doesn't matter whether I succeed or not. The point is to do something that helps, or you could say maybe helps you, or also contributes to the greater good of humanity. Because whether or not there's something really important that needs to be done, or whether or not things are actually important, we are still humans all together on this earth, and everything we do affects them. Everything we do affects other humans, and other humans have feelings just like us. So even if on a larger scale, it may not be what you want it to be. Like the simulation theory, as an example, can be one that's very depressing for many, to think that you're just in a simulation. But even if you were just in a simulation, you make connections with other humans. You help other humans. You make a difference in other people's lives. It doesn't matter if it's a simulation or not, because you're connecting with these people. They're in this with you. You can even go deeper and say, what if it is a simulation? What if they are a simulation? And I think many of us have thought about this, and it can be a stressful conversation, but it's like, even if so, you're still experiencing what you are experiencing, and these people are still, you're connecting. Either way, you got to follow your heart of connection. You can say what ifs all day. There are what ifs for everything, but it's really about kind of allowing yourself to think those things, allowing yourself to think that deeply, and then from there move forward, and from there sit with it, and from there allow yourself to feel these feelings, and then understand that we do have a purpose for whatever we choose it to be, and that we're going to face difficult, conflicting ideas that are totally uncomfortable. Like for me, the simulation theory is the most uncomfortable thing. I even have a body reaction talking about it. But it's like, I know the theories, and I know how to integrate them, and I know that that's going to be a process for me, because at my deepest level, that's one of the most uncomfortable things that trigger me. And we're going to get triggered, and it's just a matter of allowing ourselves the time to continue to build this mindset of whatever it may be. So like as I was saying, so even if your worst fears were to come true, what is the positive in that? And so just using like this skill right here, that coping skill, to be able to cope and to be able to understand that we may not know everything. We may not know everything at this moment. So though it feels like that's the end, I'm in a simulation, none of this matters, you can just say and remind yourself, because you will prove this to yourself over time, that I don't know everything I know right now, and that I'm going to find out more. I'm going to find out what's true, and I'm going to choose to find out what is right for me. And so just know that the world isn't going to end through thoughts, and just know that you create your reality, and that even if it's not this big grandiose thing, that either way you are making a difference in somebody's life. You are making a difference in an individual's life. By me making this video, I'm making a difference in maybe the one person's life who's going to see it. So for me, that's what I would say is the meaning of life. And as for pleasure, I talked to you a little bit about that. That's addiction, the chase for pleasure. Obviously our dopamine receptors, we're also always following what feels good. So we're always following And they say that, like our dopamine receptors, that, really that's all we're doing is talking to humans feels good, making changes feel good. Is life worth anything if it's just simply a chase for that dopamine hit? And I would say yes, it is, because that dopamine hit is there for a reason, and it's a part of what makes us us. And that doesn't mean that what you're doing isn't important. And that just means that that's the way our brain works to get our bodies to work the way they need to work in order to function. So it's really like a mechanical. It's a mechanical function. It's not that that's our purpose, is pleasure. If you don't feel like you have a deeper purpose, then it will feel like you're just chasing pleasure. If you haven't found your skill or the things that makes you happy yet, it's going to feel that way. It's going to feel like you're just chasing one thing after another and none of it has meaning. And once we start to feel comfortable in what we're doing and our love and our life, what we're realizing is we're actually contributing. We're contributing to the joy of ourselves. We're contributing to the joy of humanity. We're contributing to the overall consciousness. We're contributing to creating something beautiful for children who were once us. We are creating beauty and being able to share that beauty. And when we have fears, a lot of the time we can't see anything other than that pleasure chase. And so, once again, I'm going to remind you of the same theory. We don't always know. And if maybe it's not a theory, but I'm just going to say, whatever this is, this phrase, just think of this phrase, that we don't know what we know until we know it. So it may feel like you don't know something. It may feel like something is the truth until you relax into it, realize it's uncomfortable, and then set the mindset to follow the breadcrumbs for what the universe reveals to you about what is the meaning. What is the meaning to you? And during that time it's dark. During that time you may feel like you have no light. During that time you may feel like there's nothing for you, like it's the end. It may feel that. But if you keep believing in yourself and you keep trusting, you can do this. You can get through this. I promise you. You will get through this, but you gotta keep pushing and keep that intention strong. When you keep that intention strong, opportunity will always be revealed to you. It's just a matter of taking the opportunity. It's funny because, if this gives you all courage, I'll share, because my biggest thing right now is vulnerability. So for me, making a video was so hard. I was like, this question in particular, I was like, I don't know if I can answer it. Like, I don't know if I can do it. And I'm not a scripted kind of girl. Like, I don't like to script things. I like to just talk. And so for me, I was like, I don't know. And so I just allowed myself to talk. I came out with this video and I'm very happy. And I feel like I got to share a lot of things I wanted to share. So sometimes when you don't feel like you can do something and you don't think it's possible and you think you're gonna suck, just give it a time. Just give it a chance. Just do it. You may suck. You may suck. What you would consider to suck. Maybe it doesn't suck. Maybe it sucks to you. But if you give it a chance, you might find that you like it the more you keep doing it, and to keep doing it, and then it gets better. So that is my bit of information for the day for you. What is the meaning of life, and how does pleasure tie into that? Or the chase for pleasure tie into that? Alright, well, I hope you have a magnificent day. I hope you can go and smell the flowers, enjoy the sun, enjoy the clouds, maybe read a book and get a candle, maybe take a bath, maybe just breathe in some warm earth air, maybe some, if you can't go outside, maybe some beautiful air anyway. spend time with yourself or someone you love. So I hope you have a great day. Maybe do some of those things, and I will talk to you next time.